After Greenland and now Greenland 2 Migration, all I can say is there is no way I'm ever traveling with Gerard Butler or Monica Baccarin. They have the absolute worst luck. The surviving Garrity family must leave the safety of the Greenland bunker and embark on a perilous journey across the decimated frozen wasteland of Europe to find a new home. This picks up about 6 years after Comet Clark impacted Earth and wiped out about 75% of all living things. The Garritys, along with a ton of other chosen ones, have been holed up in an underground bunker doing their best to survive. But when the location is no longer viable, they decide to travel once more in hopes of finding a safe and secure spot in which to live. For this sequel, the actor who played the young son Nathan has been swapped for Roman Griffin Davis. And while he's portraying a moody, sometimes sulking teenager, Davis gives off an inquisitive and endearing vibe that works to soften the occasional rough edges of Butler. And just like with the first film, the character development, even background, they're kept fairly sparse. We know the Garritys, but the others that they live and work alongside, they're mainly strangers. Which is also probably a good thing, because with the global disaster still underway, we can be certain that not every single person we meet is going to make it to the next scene. I was surprised at the amount of heart and emotional weight this story had. Almost all of it is completely predictable, but that didn't take away from some of the abrupt or gut punch moments that have the exact effect the story was aiming for. I even teared up a bit towards the end. It was touching and sweet, punctuating the set of trials that the family had undergone. And speaking of that, good gravy. Just like within the first movie, once the action starts here, it does not let up. It's relentless in both pace and intensity. And I'm not complaining. This sequel, it's about 30-ish minutes shorter than its predecessor, but it didn't skimp on any of the nail-biting, heart-pounding action. It's exactly what I wanted in an end-of-the-world sort of thriller. Carnage, destruction, human deception, and greed, all enhanced by this impending and unescapable disaster that threatens to take out everyone. Now, the effects are pretty decent here. I don't remember any of the scenes looking wonky or underdone. From fireballs setting the sky ablaze to some monster-sized crevices that open up in the ground, the environmental devastation looked convincing, and then the actors were convincing as they endured the chaos. I appreciated the creativity also that went into designing the environmental obstacles that kept popping up for the family. From these freak radioactive electrical storms to tsunami-sized waves, each new threat amped up the anxiety as well as the energy. There was one scene in particular that the audience in the screening that I was at were gasping and shouting out loud. Now, some of it out of excitement, but also some, I'm sure, to help relieve the nervousness that this sequence created. And something else I appreciated within this particular story is that while the narrative had the opportunity to embrace a well-used post-apocalyptic trope when it comes to meeting strangers on the road, which is kind of like in Cormac McCarthy's The Road, the film subverts expectations and keeps us guessing as to the outcome that each interaction is going to create. And as far-fetched as the entire film might be, there is one portion that has a much too close sting of reality. That's people being people. Even with toxic air and radioactive fallout in many areas, we're shown how warring factions continue on undeterred. When this part is introduced into the story, it can feel a bit like a tangent or maybe a distraction, but it's woven into the arc so well that it comes about as a natural course of the plot rather than some kind of odd insertion. What's kind of depressing is watching those who have somehow survived fighting it out with bullets and bombs. Like this monstrous comet just never impacted Earth and wiped out the majority of everything clean off it. And I guess it goes to illustrate that despite the ferocity of the comet's collision, the true brutal threat towards humans turns out to be other humans. Now, even though I am getting a bit introspective with this arc, don't worry. The story doesn't use it in any obvious ways to shout a message at us. This portion is just used as one more hazardous obstacle the family has to survive on their way to the crater that's supposed to be Earth's fresh start. So here's the deal. You have to suspend all disbelief and go into this looking at it for what it is, an exciting and suspenseful disaster action flick. The story doesn't pretend to be anything else, but it will probably surprise you with the amount of touching emotion that the plot contains. The dynamic of Butler, Baccarin, and now Davis, it's endearing and sweet, creating a unit that is powerfully connected despite the rest of the world chewing itself up in a mad attempt at survival. With enveloping graphic effects and the avoidance of typical disaster movie pitfalls, Greenland 2 Migration builds out an enjoyable distraction from the chaos that is real life by showing us the chaos of a make-believe life. There's no sex or nudity, a lot of profanity, and then a bunch of violence. I give Greenland 2 Migration 4 out of 5 couches. This knew exactly what it was, and it fully embraced the destructive fun. Do you have any favorite world-ending destruction movies? I'm a sucker for the first Independence Day, but I think my favorite's always going to be Armageddon. Cheese and all. Let me know some of yours, though, in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.